This has been on my mind heavy lately. Repetition. Repeating good practices is so mandatory. So mandatory. And not just for your sake in your life, but everyone else around you. I have had several meetings today, within the last couple of days at my job, about inclusion and diversity. And the one thing that I have come to realize is when someone in management says, you can talk to us, if you just say it one time, I don't believe you. And that comes with almost anything, like even learning a new skill. If you see it one time, you're like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if that can be repeated. That's just how we operate, right, as human beings. So when my boss tells me like, oh, you can talk to me about anything, yada, 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 if you just say it one time and I never hear you say that again, and you never follow up with me, and you never take the time to even send me an email, a message, or nothing, it makes it extraordinarily hard to believe you. So one thing I realized that my company does is when they have the opportunity to say, we want to hear from our people, they say, we want to hear from our people. He even mentioned like, it's not something that we're just going to placard on the wall and that's just sort of our mission statement or anything like that. Like, no, we really want to live this. We really want to hear from our people. We really want to understand where this is coming from. We really want to change the lives of our people and consequently the lives of the world. That's what resonated with me when I was informed that we want to hear from you. And it's not like it's the first time I've heard it. And I've even made note like, thank you. I take the time to say thank you for saying that, because we all have this understanding of how things are supposed to go, but they're not really supposed to go certain ways. And because of that, we always make that assumption, and we repeatedly make that assumption. And we've been living with that assumption for so long that it seems like a reality. And certain things are. I'm not going to make it seem like police brutality isn't a thing. Like, it's very real and it's very disheartening and it's very impactful in my life. But there's definitely a line there where we take on so many assumptions that we just think that that's how it's going to be and that's how it's supposed to be and that's normal, and we don't really care for it, but it's something that we've gotten used to, especially women. Like, we are probably the main people who have been pushed down and shamed and silenced and just constantly having this projection of stay in your place, don't do this and don't do that and behave this way. And we are learning to grow out of it, and it is amazing. It is extraordinary, and I applaud every woman who is trying, because that's really all we need, is for people to try. So, and trying looks many different ways, because a lot of the trying occurs up here. A lot of the trying is convincing yourself like, okay, I need to speak up, I need to say something, I need to do something. And believe it or not, your one voice, your one desire to change things will in fact change things. But I'm gonna bring it back in. I want people to understand that I have to hear people tell me that I can talk to them. And it made me realize how many times I would have been willing to speak up. And trust me, I'm a very vocal person. How many times I would have spoken up if someone had at least given me the opportunity to know that they were willing to listen. And it's not so much, I want you to agree. I need you to understand where I'm coming from so that we can find a middle ground. We can find a compromise. We can do something better or differently. So now I'm sort of at the point where like, how do I ask then? How do I ask people, you know, how do you want me to approach you when you say things that are offensive? How do you want me to approach you when I feel like you ignored something that I was passionate about? How do you want me to address these things, right? So now I'm at a point in time in life where like, even family, you pissed me off, right? And you saw me get angry and we sort of just swept it under the rug, and that's not okay. I feel like you learn majority of your conflict resolution with your family because they're family, and most of us feel like we're stuck with them. You're not, but most of us feel like you're stuck. You know, you don't have any choice but to deal with them. And some people it is the case. I feel so sorry for that. Just know that it doesn't always have to be that way. But mostly, know that when things occur, you can speak up. You might not like what you hear back, but you can speak up. And you should repeatedly speak up. The difference is you might not speak up to the same person every single time. But you should repeatedly speak up, and you should repeatedly invite people to say, hey, talk to me whenever, you know, no worry. Like, give people the space to feel like, even if you don't want to hear what I want to say, you'll listen. Even if you're not going to change based off of what I'm saying, you'll listen. Because you never know what's going to happen during that conversation. It's literally about talking to people at the right moment. Okay? So if my boss keeps telling me, you can speak to me, you can talk to me, you can do this, guess what happens? I get more comfortable in doing such. And we have less pain and less turmoil and less chaos in our lives because now we're talking about it. And I know people are like, talking about it doesn't fix it. It helps you figure it out. It's a start. And really right now, what everyone needs is a start. I need to start speaking up, and I need to start being heard, and I need to start listening on all ends. Not just with coworkers, not just with family members. Anybody that you interact with, you should want to speak up. If you want to change your life, you should want to speak up. The difference is you have to sort of come to terms with and cope with the fact that not everyone's going to listen. Just like you're not always going to listen, though. Like, I'm not always going to listen to what people have to say. If I was taught certain things, then that's been working for me so long. Like, good luck with getting me to change. You have to truly invest your time in getting me to understand what it is that I'm doing that's harmful or wrong, or that I could be doing differently, or that could have better outcomes, or that could benefit more people. If I'm convinced that something is supposed to work a certain way, I need to be re-educated, and that takes repetition. Like, literally, our school systems are built like that. And most people just like make it seem like, oh, I told you once. No, parents, you can't just tell your kid something one time. It's little things like that where, yes, it sucks and it's exhausting to constantly have to tell people, you know, your side of the story, or constantly trying to get people to understand. But sometimes you're literally not saying things that registers to them. Literally. So you have to keep saying the same things over and over again, or you have to make minor tweaks and adjustments so that they can understand where you're coming from. That's not a reason to just be like, oh, I don't want to talk to them at all because they don't get it. Maybe they need to hear it from somebody else. Like in my situation, I needed to hear it from other managers. Like literally the VP of the company had to say it for it to fully sink in. I had heard it, From my coworkers, I had heard it from management, but that was just like one time, right? But now my VP has said it multiple times at this point in time. And now the people under him have said it multiple times. Now I will go and say, okay, well, with management, I want to speak to you all once a month. With my coworkers, I want to be able to have a regular conversation the moment you say something. Or if you say something offensive, I want you all to know that I will pull you aside, or I will have a meeting or something like that to discuss the things that you said that was potentially harmful. And it doesn't mean that I'm always right. Sometimes, I'm human. I have feelings, and sometimes things are offensive and I really shouldn't have been offended by it. But at least it brings some peace and some closure and some resolution, conflict resolution to the situation and the issues. So please don't give up and understand that repetition is key, and let people know that you're open to talking to them, because a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people are scared to say the wrong thing. And tell them what's going to happen when they say the wrong thing, and then they can tell you, okay, that's not going to work for me. Let's try this out. If you value the relationship, or if the relationship is mandatory, or if you can't escape it, then you should try it, and it'll be worth it. I promise you. So until then, I love you. I believe in you. Have a happy day. As always, go defund the police. Thanks.